to the Wealth Seed. This is episode 44. And we have been having some internet challenges here lately just because our weather has been up and down. So hopefully, this connection is going to hold up. It doesn't cause too much problems, but if it does, it is what it is, right? All right. So today, again, this is episode 44. And today I'm going to be making the case for renting over owning a home. That's right. I'm going to be making a case for renting over owning a home. And I know that that's going to take a lot of us by, surprise a little bit. But after you hear what I have to say, then you can let me know whether you agree with me, whether you don't agree with me. All is well, right? Before we do that, we're going to have our crazy money story, of course. And so, if you're watching, whether you're watching live or whether you're watching the replay, y'all already know what it is, right? Let me know who you are, where you're watching from. Love to acknowledge all of those that are watching, right? Whether I can do that now or later on by coming back through the comments. All right, so let's get to our crazy money story for today. Let's get to our crazy money story for today. Let's see who's made a comment. Hey, Mom. Good to see you. All right. So, our crazy money story for today is not necessarily crazy, but very interesting, right? I like to look at kind of the times where we are economically and then go back and look at times that were similar or maybe worse and just kind of see what people did during those times, right? And so today, what I want to do is to look at look at what people did during the depression. What people did during the depression, right? To in order to make money. What did they do as this stuff was going on? All right. So I found this article. You can Google it yourself. It says 25 ways people earn money during the Great Depression. Of course, I'm not going through all 25. But I'm going to shout out just a few that people did. Now, they said people made homemade fudge and sold it. I picked that one, of course, because I love fudge. I have always loved it from the time I was young, right? So they made homemade fudge and sold it. What else did they do? People started a lunch truck or lunch wagon, and you're going to find that like some people are still doing these things today, right? So if you do it right, it can pay off for you down the road. Some people did road work or they shoveled snow, right, on the roads. We still have that as well. Some people chopped wood or harvested driftwood. That still goes on, right? Some people made and sold hand woven baskets. So listen, y'all, like a lot of this stuff is not too surprising, is it? It's stuff that we can still do today. Some people did door-to-door sales, okay, things like shoes or uh, sewing machines and things like that. All kinds of stuff. People went door-to-door selling. People made and sold quilts. My mother-in-law's mother made quilts years ago. Beautiful quilts, right? And some of those quilts are still here. I think she died. Maybe it's been 8 years, maybe more than that. Don't quote me. But she would make these beautiful, beautiful, beautiful quilts. And I don't think she sold them very often, but I tell you, if she did, she would have made a fortune. I know it. Um, what else? Childcare. That's not new, right? People mended or altered clothing, sold apples, sold any other homegrown produce. So again, I'm saying this, none of this is surprising, right? But if you find yourself having some challenges right now in your finances, and y'all know me, I say everybody needs some type of side hustle, right? These are probably some things that you can do. Okay, these are probably some things that you can do as well to help you make ends meet. So I thought that was very interesting. And then initially, I wasn't sure what I was going to see or find, but I'm like, I'm like, you know, these are a lot of things that, people can do today. Um, made deliveries for stores. So now we have things like Grubhub or Uber and Uber Eats and DoorDash and all of those things. These are things, they're not new, they're just new in the way they're done. And of course, with the implementation of technology and all of that. But this is stuff people have been doing for years. Anyway, let's get into our story for today. Hello, Brother Patrick. Good to see you. Good to see you. Today, again, our topic for today is I'm going to be making the case for renting over owning a home. Now, I know a lot of you, particularly those those of you who are in the United States of America, you're going to be like, what? Because we are conditioned to, to grow up, go to school, get the degree, get a good paying job, buy a home, right? If you're a woman, get married, get a home, right? But get a home, owning a home, they tell us, is a great investment. That's what they tell us. So many of us, that is the route that we went on, right? And some of us, maybe that's where we're trying to be. You may find yourself that you're still renting and you have this desire to own a home because you were told that owning a home is a good investment. And you may have also been told that when you're renting, that you are just throwing your money away, right? If you have heard either of those two things, I want you to drop a one in the chat for me, okay? Drop a one in the chat, whether you're watching live or whether you're watching the replay. If you have been told buying a home is a good investment, right? Or if you have been told that when you rent, you are throwing your money away, I want you to drop a one in the chat, in the comments, okay? And then hopefully, depending on what platform you're on, I may be able to see and respond. Some platforms I may not be able to see and respond right away, right? But I want to know that you guys are with me, okay? All right, so thank you, Missy. I see a one. Yes, this is what you've been watching from LinkedIn. Awesome. Thanks for joining. So, yes, this is what we have been told, right? So, today I'm going to make the case for renting. And then I want you to tell me at the end what you think, okay? If I've made the case or still not quite, okay? All right. So, as I said, most of us have been convinced that buying a home is really, really smart, right? And we have been told that this is smart because real estate has and still does appreciates over time, right? And I don't disagree. In a lot of cases, real estate can appreciate over time. There are a few cases where the property values may go down. That happens, in certain areas. But then, like anything else, it may go back up again. But in most cases, you buy a home, it appreciates over time. Okay. And if you're able to get a cheap mortgage, you don't have a whole lot of interest. Why wouldn't you buy the home? Right? You buy the home with the bank's money, you build equity in the home instead of paying a monthly rent. Okay. So it all sounds like a good idea. And it all sounds like a great investment. Okay. And to be honest, in some cases, owning a home could be a very smart investment, but investment is the key word. And I'm going to come back to that at the end. Okay. But in most cases, this isn't a fact. Okay. I'm arguing that it is not a good idea, that in most cases, it is not a good idea from a financial perspective, okay, to buy a home. Now, from a sentimental perspective, from a, other types of perspectives, maybe. But from a financial perspective, I think so. And it costs. When you're buying a home, there is a huge opportunity. Don't think about, right? We only think about, hey, I bought this home for this amount of money. It's going to appreciate in value over time. If you decide to sell the home, okay, that's if, because before we have been taught, you buy home, and this is never sell it. The equity in the home. Okay. However, when you think about, okay, I bought the home, it appreciates over time, I've had it 10, 15, 20 years, now I sell it, I make more, okay, than what I paid for it. And then people will typically think that is, I have, now that was a good investment, right? But what we haven't thought about is this one thing. Reason number one, opportunity costs, right? That's the opportunity cost of buying something. When you rent, okay, you're paying a fixed monthly payment for the duration of the lease, and that's all, right? But when you're buying, there is some significant cash, some significant amount of capital that you have to put into the property. Even when first of all, you've got your down payment, but even after the mortgage, right? So you pay in the mortgage, but if you're in the house over time, you're going to put significant cash into that home, okay, for various things. So assume that you have bought a home for 500,000, okay, and you finance 20% of it with equity, okay, from a previous home, okay, that's 100,000. Then you put another 100,000 in the property for fixing, furnishing, just stuff over time, okay, resulting in 200,000 now that you're in this property, that's stuck in the property, okay? You're not going to, it's stuck in the property, okay? If you were renting, listen to me now, if you were renting, that 200,000, okay, so the 200,000 that you were paying for being furnished, and I have my windows open, y'all, so I don't know, some trucks keeps coming by here. Anyway, if you were renting, that same 200,000 you could have taken, that's the 200,000 that you have used to, furnish, to whatever you do with a home, okay? You could have put that same 200,000 in the stock market, allowed it to earn about 10%, okay? And that 10% compounded over that time frame, 20 years, let's say you had a home, right? Could have been 1.35 million. Now that's not a guarantee, right? We know the stock market on average does about 9-10%, right? So, but still, that 200,000, you could have actually grown it, okay, to 1.35 million. But now instead it's in the house, and certainly after selling the house, you did not clear 1.35 million. Could have sold maybe for that, but you didn't clear that in profits once you think about all of the money that you have put into that home over time. Okay. So that's one benefit of renting. You can take that extra money, you can invest it, and you can really see some return. Okay. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about lifestyle inflation. Okay. If you're renting, you are likely, not saying always, but you are likely going to be a little bit more reasonable about what you what you put into that place, because you're renting. So you're probably not going to spend as much maybe on things like furniture, on things like designing, on fixing, of course, because you're renting, right? They have people for that. So there isn't the cost of repairs. There isn't the cost of having to, mow the lawn and things like that. Whether you do it yourself, because you can say, well, I'm doing it myself, but you still had to buy the machine, right? And that machine probably isn't going to last you the whole 20 years. Okay. You might have to buy a couple of those machines, right? And then you start to think about time, which I'll talk about later. But anyway, lifestyle inflation, right? So when you're renting, you're least likely, I'm not saying this is always true, but you are least likely to spend so extravagantly on things that go inside the space, right? When you buy a home, and this is kind of a mental thing, okay, that goes on with us. When you buy a home, it's the opposite, because the home to begin with was an emotional purchase. Typically, in most cases, the home was an emotional purchase. We were like, hey, when you buy a home, then you have reached a certain status. When you buy a home, now you've got a place for your family to be and to call home and all. So it's an emotional purchase, right? And so because it's an emotional purchase, and you see yourself being there for a long time, because most people don't buy homes to say, I think next year I'll be out of here, right? That's not the typical person. They're going to say, no, I'm going to be here for a while. If I buy a home, most people are saying, I'm going to be here for a while, if not forever, right? So as you begin to purchase things, and you're seeing yourself there for a long time, you are going to purchase things that are a little bit more expensive, right? Yes, you're going to purchase things that are a little bit more expensive, because over time, because you see yourself there for a long time. And so the more expensive purchases are going to make sense. You're not going to want to sacrifice any kind of living quality, because this is your home. Okay. So lifestyle inflation. All right. You're going to spend more. And some of us, if we're honest, we're going to spend more because we want to impress family. We want to impress our friends. We want to impress neighbors. Like, if we're really being honest with ourselves, sometimes a purchase is not just about us and how it makes us feel, but it's also about how we look to other people. Let's just be honest. Okay. All right. So lifestyle inflation. The next is hidden expenses, okay, that you have with a home that you don't necessarily have when you're renting. So people can compare their monthly rent with their monthly mortgage payment, and then they're going to assume that owning a home is cheaper, which is what I did years ago, right? When I was renting, I'm like, and at that time, my rent was about nine something. I think I had a 3-bedroom townhome I was renting. And then, I had an opportunity to buy a home, and I'm like, I buy a home. I got 4 bedrooms and a basement for 1,100. Like, that makes sense, right? But what I did not take into consideration was some of these other hidden expenses, if you will. I just compared the rent and I compared the mortgage payment, and I was like, 4 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms, basement, no basement. Yeah, I'm already paying almost $1,000. So to pay 1,100 and get a whole nother bedroom and a big basement seemed like that was the smart thing to do. Okay. But what I did not anticipate, okay, in these hidden expenses, what I did not anticipate, and what they sometimes don't do a good job of explaining, are property taxes that come along with that, right? Insurance, okay, because you got to have homeowners insurance, trash removal, maintenance, okay, sewer, any kind of other occasional repairs that you're going to have to do to the house. Whether you do the lawn cutting or not, let's say you hire a service to do the lawn cutting, there's that expense. Oh, then you got a security system, maybe, right? Not everybody has these things, but you have a security system. So there's that expense. There are so many other hidden expenses that come along with purchasing the home that we are not thinking about, because we have only compared just, hey, I'm paying rent and this mortgage is either cheaper or on par or, better than what I'm doing now. But we have not taken into consideration all these other hidden expenses. Or how about the leaking roof after so many years? Or how about, like what happened to me, because we have bad weather, bad storms. It was like a tree, this big, thick, not the biggest tree, but it was a nice, thick tree, somehow was lifted, okay, or broke off from tree. It came up and lifted and planted itself in the roof, okay, made it over into my roof, right? So And then you might think, well, you got insurance for those types of things. And yeah, so maybe insurance covers some of it. Maybe it covers none of it at all because it doesn't cover acts, what they call acts of God, right? So, so we don't think about those things. Okay. So all of those things begin to add up. All of those things begin to add up. And when we sell the home, we have to look at, okay, this is what I put on the market for. This is what I got. Maybe I got some profit, but when I start to subtract everything that I have spent over time, and listen, I don't know about y'all, but I can't look at the same furniture for 30 years. Right? I mean, I could, but I don't want to. Okay? I don't want to look at the same furniture for 30 years. After a while, I'm like, I need a change. Okay? And I can shift things around, but that's only going to work for so long. I'm going to want something different, and I may have a new set of furniture coming in, right? So these are things that we don't think about when we talk about purchasing a home. Okay, there are also other transaction costs that come with purchasing a home. Okay, so and that's day one. That's like even before you move in. Okay, that we don't even think about, and these are all expenditures. This is all money that could be invested. Okay, this is all money that could be invested. So renters, if you're listening, what I'm saying is you aren't necessarily throwing money away. Okay, I would take my time and enjoy renting and take these extra monies and invest. I would be patient, and then down the line, you still want the home, no problem, because people want a home. I get it, right? I want a home. I get it. Then invest that money, okay? Be a little patient, and then purchase that home from the returns on what you've been from the returns on your investments. Okay, that would be the smart way to go, right? But most of us don't have the patience, right? And honestly, that doesn't have to take 20 years in and of itself. You just got to know where to invest, how to invest, so you get the higher returns. Be diversified, all that good stuff. Those are other podcasts. But anyway, I'm just saying. Okay. Now, another reason you have, I'm making the case for renting, is that you have a loss in flexibility. Okay. And it could possibly reduce your earning capacity. Possibly. Okay. Now, I'm not talking about people who want to start businesses. I'm talking about people who are working 9 to 5s and they don't want to start no business. Okay. They just know it. It's not for them. This is who I'm talking about here. Your main revenue generator is your career. Okay. And so whether you admit it or not, when you own a home, it could possibly cause you to miss out on potential career opportunities. Okay. Because career opportunities these days come from anywhere. Right. And sometimes you might need to get up and move, but you can't. Okay. Because you are tied to the specific place. Okay. Whereas if you are a renter, you're not tied so much. You could move a little bit more easily from one place to another. Okay. Now I realize that even with this reason, because a lot of people are working online and can work from anywhere. Great. Okay. But there are still people who are not working online, can't work from anywhere, and they're tied to a specific location because they have bought a home. They've put all this money into it, right? And when you put a lot of money into something, you're not going to easily get up and just walk away from it, right? So it's kind of hard to quantify like how much this flexibility is worth. Is case by case, but it could be for some people very significant. Okay, it could be for some people very significant. And then the last case that I'm going to make for renting is your time. How does that factor in? What do you mean your time, right? When you own a home, you're going to spend a significant amount of time, first of all, before you buy the home, because you're researching the market, you got to find the right properties to go visit, then you got to go visit them. Then you're asking questions, you're double checking. So the whole process of home buying in and of itself takes time. But even as you move into the home, there are things that could possibly take time, right? Let's say that you're doing some renovations, right? You don't want to hire anybody. Maybe you can't hire somebody because it's costs a little bit more than what you can do right now. So now you got to do this. This is your time that you're putting into this, right? Whereas where you're renting, you don't, there's not that time that's lost, right? Um, Same thing, mowing your lawn, weeding, all of these different things, right? That possibly you could be taking that time and doing something else. Maybe it's not owning a full scale business, but maybe you can be doing a side hustle, right? So there's that time piece that we don't look at as well, where I say, hey, it may just be all right to rent right now, because you can take that time and energy and you can invest it. Okay. You can take that time and energy and invest in a side hustle. You can take that time and energy and invest in building a business if that's what you desire to do. Okay. So there are my reasons. What do you all think? Are you with me? You still with me? What do you all think about what I have said in the case for renting? I think overall, what I'm saying here is that the home, just the purchase in and of itself of a home, is not an investment. First, you don't even own the home though until you have paid it off. And I think that that's also something that we don't think about. The bank owns your home, right? Miss 3 payments and see what happens to you. They're going to start that process of foreclosure. Don't catch up and see what happens to you. They're going to put you out of there, right? That is their property and they can do that. And so all of that time and energy and money that you have put into it, where does it go? It just vanishes, right? So I would not be so quick to say that renting is throwing away your money. Because if a renter is smart, okay, they're going to take the monies that they would have been sinking into a home and invest it. Now, when does a home become a smart investment? When does a home become a smart investment? Well, a home becomes a smart investment when you are not tied to it emotionally, right? And you look for ways to monetize so that the mortgage can be paid out of however you're monetizing versus it just coming from your active income, right? So is there a space in the home that you can rent out that can be a studio that brings in double what you're paying for your mortgage on a monthly basis, right? And then not only does it help you to pay the mortgage, but then you can take another portion and invest, and you can take another portion and pay extra, right? Or you can just take that whole other portion and invest. I would, right? Right? That's when a home starts to become a smart investment. When you allow that home, when you allow spaces in the home, if not the whole home, to monetize, right? To monetize, and it pays the mortgage. Now that's when it becomes an investment, okay? And you're not tied to it emotionally. That's when it becomes an investment. But if it's not yielding you a return, it is not an investment. And it is not an investment simply when you say, oh, I bought it for this amount. 20 years later, I sold it for this amount. And even if that amount is more, you still have to count the cost. You might say, okay, I bought it for $150. I sold it for $550. I made $400,000. I think if I did the math right, right? Okay, did you really make $400,000? If you think about everything that you have spent on that home over the 20 years? Probably not, okay? And you might be lucky if you have a little bit, left over once you subtract all of those costs, Okay. So, and I'm not saying that buying a home altogether is a bad idea. I am just telling you, don't believe what they say, that it is a smart investment, because in most cases, it's not a smart investment. Okay. And for renters, don't let people tell you that you're just throwing your money away. Don't let them convince you that buying a home is a smart investment, because in most cases, it's not. So if you're renting, enjoy that. Take the extra funds that you would be putting into a home for whatever reason, right? And invest that money. Build your net worth. That's what this is about, because you can't even count a home really towards your net worth until you've paid it off. It is a liability until then. All right. All right. So that's my case for renting. What do y'all think? Let me know in the comments what y'all think about that. Some of you, I know a lot of you may already be homeowners, all of that, um, we have a home, but I'm going to, and I've been a homeowner in the traditional sense a couple of times over. And had I known what I know now, would not have went about it that route. But the current home in which we're in is a home that we bought through a tax sale. So we didn't spend we spent pennies on this place, pennies. So we're fixing it up. We're in the process of fixing it up. And in a couple of years or so, who knows? We'll sell it, we'll rent it, we'll move on, right? It's an now that's an investment. That's an investment. Okay. All right. So that's that. Let's talk about what's coming up. What is coming up? Well, listen, if you want to, hold on a second. I'm looking for there they are. All right. So if you want to schedule time with me, as you all know, I love helping women entrepreneurs to create wealth, right? And why am I helping them to create wealth? So that they can experience financial freedom. But why am I helping them to do that? So they can experience financial freedom, so that they can become kingdom wealth builders, right? Kingdom wealth builders. There's so much that is needed in the kingdom, various types of things going on. And there are people who desire to give to the kingdom, to expand the kingdom in that way. And so that's what I do. I help those people to do that, right? If you would like to chat with me for a 30-minute complimentary consultation, and so we can talk about how we get you on the path to financial freedom, there is my calendar link. So take a snapshot of that and get on my calendar, right? Would love to have this chat with you. We have merch, y'all, kingdomeconomicswear.live /shop. Okay. If you are on the path to financial freedom, then let's let the world know, and let's encourage the rest of the world to get on that path and to do the same. The shirts and there's totes and there's all kinds of things. But what I love about this is that each shirt has a scripture reference to it, encouraging people to do this God's way, right? And then finally, we have a mission trip coming up, an international mission trip coming up. We have one team that's currently in Ghana right now as we do this. And then we have a team that's going to Kenya in September. Okay. And so we encourage you to donate, because in Kenya, we are going to be doing a few different projects. We are going to go and visit girls and girls' schools, and we're going to provide each young lady with sanitary napkins and underwear, because it's a huge issue. Just look it up, Google it. Affordability, being able to afford sanitary napkins is a huge deal in a lot of places in Africa. So we are addressing that. And then we are, for the boys' school, we will be providing them school supplies. We're also going to be helping with a water project. We're also going to be helping a mission station to get some iron sheets for their roofing. We are also going to be giving away shoes and socks. And we want to give away shoes and socks. We want to give away 500 pair. So we need your help, not in a needy way, because God will provide. But if you feel led to donate and be part of this, you're not going on the trip, but you can still be part of this amazing mission, then go to this link and donate whatever the Lord, however the Lord leads you. And we usually provide our donors, with updates, as we're out there and when we return and all of that, so they can see how impactful their donations were. So yes, go to the link, donate today. All right. Other than that, that's all we got for you today. We will see you next week with another episode of The Wealth Seed. I'm Lexi Johnson. I don't think I even said that at the beginning. I'm Lexi Johnson. Shame on me. I'm so rude. I'm Lexi Johnson. I am an international speaker. I'm a financial coach, strategist. Again, helping women to create wealth so that they can expand the kingdom of God. That's why we're here. We'll see you next time. Peace.